Hello everyone, and thank you for joining in on Student Orgs 101, presented by the Office of Student Inclusion and Involvement. I'm Holly Anderson. I'm interning with the Office of Student Inclusion and Involvement, or OSII, and I also do my graduate assistantship at UW Whitewater, and I oversee our 200 plus student organizations there. So today's topics we're going to go over are the OSII Student Org Forms, the future of student orgs, transitioning officers, and a bonus at the end, we're going to go through how to start a new student organization. So first, we'll go through how to implement new OSII Student Org Forms. So first and foremost, you're going to want to attend a re-recognition meeting. So these are going to be hosted with Nikki Charleston, and at the end of this presentation, I'm going to go through the dates and times for some of the upcoming ones. After you have attended this meeting, and it is mandatory to get your forms, you have to attend the meeting, Nikki will email you the re-recognition student form. It's really important when filling out this form that you have your current constitution ready to go. It should be saved as a PDF or Word document. And I really strongly suggest putting the title both in the document itself as well as saved in the title of the document. After you fill out this form, you will receive an email notifying you that your student org has completed the application. At that point, we'll email your advisor and they will fill out an advisor confirmation form. So this is going to be the new form this year. It's one to just make sure we want to give every advisor an opportunity to say yes or decline their volunteer services to committing to advising your student org. So sometimes you'll have advisors who go on sabbatical, maybe they pick up an additional class that they weren't used to or anticipating. We just want to give them a way to make sure that they are understanding what they're committing to, ready to commit to it, and agreeing to that as well. So those will be the two forms coming after you attend the meeting. And moving into the glimpse into the future for organizations. So if I do say so myself, it's looking pretty good. We're really excited to say that starting next year, Presence will be on campus. This is a really great online website that gets to be used as a tool for student organizations. So things that you'll be able to do here are schedule meetings, manage your rosters, share all of your ongoings, news with campus. So we use something very similar in Whitewater, and we actually are also moving to Presence. And I can say from my experience with it, it's been really great as I, again, advise a lot of student orgs. Here it's kind of like there's portals, there's one webpage you can come to, you can search it as a student, a campus or community member, you can find your meeting times, links to your social media accounts. Again, you can post your events or any of your upcoming programs, or if you just want to give a shout out, maybe you won a title or conference competition. There's just a great way to be able to do a lot of different things. You can also track attendance at your meetings, create forms. There's just a lot of different stuff that will be coming, and it will hopefully just give a really good one area where all of the different orgs can come together. Again, you can find your information, you can change it really easily, and the really big part here is going to be recruiting and retaining members for your orgs, because again, they're finding your meeting times, they're connecting with you. It's just going to be a really good and exciting thing that we're moving into. They also have decided in the OSII office to change the re-recognition process to only be offered twice a year. So it will be offered once in fall semester in October, and then once again during spring semester in April, which is what we're in right now. This will be the times where you can re-recognize for the next semester or the next academic year. And most importantly, if you're a new student org, this is going to be the time where you can join campus again for the next semester, next academic year. And then the last future change for student orgs and leaders and members will be the amount of positions students can hold is changing for e-boards. Originally and currently, there's lots of you who hold multiple e-board positions. I can imagine that that's a lot of work. It takes a lot of your time. We recognize that you are students first, and we want to make sure that we're respecting that and that we're also allowing for new leadership opportunities to happen for your new members, for folks that are interested in joining your orgs. So we'll be moving into one e-board position per term or semester. Students, you can still be members of multiple different organizations. You can be active members. We just want to make sure that those e-board positions are being filled one at a time for you and not a large amount at a time. So transitioning your officers. This will be really important if you find yourself in this category this semester, and then just in general moving forward for just overall transitioning officer tips. So the first one would be if you have officers transitioning in for this next semester or over summer, they must attend the re-recognition meeting this current process time, so here in April. And again, at the end of this presentation, I'll go through the upcoming dates. But we have to really watch and make sure that any graduating students are not the ones who are attending recognition. They should also not have the names on the forms when you're filling them out. If for some reason you know that you have students who are transitioning out, you want to still exist for next semester, but you don't have anyone to put or send in your place, then definitely contact the OSII office right away so that we can work with you and figure out what needs to be done for the next steps. But definitely if you have seniors or graduating students, make sure that they are not the ones coming to the recognition, that they are not putting their names and filling out the forms. You want whoever is coming into those roles to put their names on that form, so we're contacting over summer and next semester the appropriate people and not those who will no longer be here. We also require every fall, all new student org leaders are going to attend a mandatory training session. So again, so important why we need those people who are transitioning in. We need their names, their contact information, but there will be a secondary training apart from their re-recognition process right now that will take place in fall. And all of those, again, new student org leaders need to attend that. Again, it's going to be a good opportunity too for any new student orgs to attend that as well if you're thinking about becoming an org, not yet, but maybe next semester. And then last but not least, if you have someone transitioning mid-semester or over a break, contact OSII right away. We get that you change, we get that students will take a position in leadership, an e-board position, and then realize that maybe they don't have the time to commit to it, their semester gets really busy, maybe they decide, and then over summer or a break, they transfer to a different institution, or they decide to go on a different path. And it's just, we got to make sure that we are keeping everyone up to date so that we know who to contact, so that faculty advisors, community members, new members who are potentially wanting to join, we always have that current contact on information on file. So our bonus section here for starting a new organization. So these are kind of the five, not kind of, they are the 5 things that you need to get started. So first off, you have to have 5 members in your group. Those 5 members have to consist of a president or equal to that title, a vice president or equal to the title, and then a treasurer. Again, those are the 3 mandatory positions that have to be filled. The other 2 members can just be general members, or maybe you have other leadership positions you want them in, but there definitely has to be a president or equivalent, a vice president or equivalent, and then every group has to have a treasurer. And then after you have your 5 members, you'll need to find a faculty or staff member that's willing to advise you. Most of these are volunteer positions unless it's worked into their job description, but commonly we see they're volunteer. A lot of times people will choose an advisor who they know personally, maybe they've had in class, they have a good relationship with. It doesn't have to be, if you're an astronomy club, you don't have to have an astronomy professor. It just has to be someone who's willing to take on that role and work with that organization. So definitely contacting them ahead of time with your interests. They can also help you understand what you have to go through. You can set up a meeting with them and you in the OSII office to ask further questions about what looking like a new org might be. The next step after you have found your members and your advisor would be creating your constitution. This is where I will plug my last week video. We do have that up on our YouTube channel, the OSII YouTube channel, and it goes through the components or what we call articles of a constitution. It goes through your different leadership positions and kind of what the general descriptions are of those and how to use your constitution. But building your constitution is going to be the next step. It's probably one of the more lengthy steps just because there are quite a few different articles that you need to function as a student org at Edgewood. And then you also have to have a current officers roster. So again, this will be those 3 positions I mentioned, the president, vice president, and treasurer, as well as if you have any other officers. So if you have a secretary, if you have a public or a PR chair, maybe a community service chair, all those should be listed, and who is filling those should be listed as well with their contact information. And then it's always good to just have 2 if you have any general members who are interested, but they're not ready to take on a leadership role, or they have no interest in taking on a leadership role. You can still list them as well. And then last but not least, most orgs and most things function with having to follow all your policies and rules that are mentioned in the Student Org Manual. If you'd like a copy of the Student Org Manual, please contact the OSII office, which the contact information will be at the end of this presentation. So the second step of starting your new org is being approved through Student Senate. So that would be bringing all the list of the 5 things I just gave you in the last slide, and as well as those, making sure that you can, or you have written out and that you can speak on your contributions you want to make to campus, as well as your recruitment efforts. It's really important to have these 2 laid out for any good org. You want to have those. Understanding kind of your mission and vision are a good one too to write out. That can help you identify, what contributions you're bringing. Are you a service-based community? That's always a really easy one to do, providing community service options for student orgs. Maybe you're like a key club or something like that. You could be, if I use the nursing club, for example, providing one of the majors at Edgewood, a group of students to get together. Again, that doesn't mean that these groups are specifically only for nursing students. It just means that they have an interest in working with that student body, and that can really go into and tie into your recruitment efforts. So the nursing org is definitely going to reach out to all nursing students, potential nursing students, incoming nursing students. That's definitely where their main focus of recruitment is going to be. So understanding both of those when starting a new org is highly important. And the reason why we need to bring all of this to Student Senate is they are who approve you to be on campus. They also approve you for money. And those monies can be used for your promotional items when you're recruiting, for your events you want to put on, bringing speakers to campus, and a lot of different things to be able to function as your student org. So that kind of is the end of this cover session for us. In the next slide, like I said, I will have all the contact information if you have further questions for us. And then I definitely want to make a good plug here for if you are starting a new student org or just our current student org who are looking for it. Next week, we do have Enhancing Your Student Org 101. It will take place on Thursday, April 16th at 2 p.m. And then we have Recruitment and Retention 101, Tuesday, April 21st at 11 a.m. So both of those can be used for, again, new student orgs or current student orgs. They're going to go through, Enhancing Your Student Org is going to go through different ways to bring your org to the next level. And it can be a really good one to start with for new orgs to just make sure you're starting at that level. And then recruitment and retention, we'll go through exactly what those are, different tips and tricks and ways that you can be successful at doing both of those things. And then moving back out to the re-recognition, I just wanted to make sure to say those dates too, in case you're not seeing those come through. But we have one coming up Friday, April 10th at 10 a.m. Next week, Thursday, April 16th at 6 p.m. Monday, April 20th at 5 p.m. And then there are a few more dates after that. I'll continue to keep them updated in these sessions, but you can always contact the OSII office for the list of the re-recognition times as well. So see you all next week, and thank you so much for joining me today. Again, a shout out to just make sure we're using the email versus the phone as we are not on campus currently.